Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to everyone,
Okay.
and a special edition, not only being the last one before Ramadan, but because over there in the woodlands is Abdurraheem Green.
And over there in his house with the curtains behind is Dr. Abdul Haqq Baker.
And this is,
A piece of cake.
and Abdurraheem, mashallah, tell us what's happening with you, mashallah. Where are you?
Well, it's my sort of like weekend family walk, and because the times have changed here in the UK, my brain hasn't quite adjusted to the fact that it's not early afternoon anymore. It's sort of getting late evening. So I got caught out. I had to do another talk just now, walking and talking at the same time. So, but this is my back garden, really. I say my back garden, but I walk out the back of my house, and that's it. It's the Shropshire Hills.
That's absolutely amazing.
It is beautiful,
hello,
so beautiful. Yeah. Mashallah.
Hello, Scarlett. Wa alaikum salam, Rabia, Jordan, those who tuned in, and you're getting a very nice scenic piece of cake. Wa alaikum salam, Sulsul from Morocco. And Abdurraheem, I think that's wonderful. I think the next time, maybe when we do it after Ramadan, I'll do a shot from the view that I've got from my window, or when I'm out.
I think that's a good idea.
Some beautiful scenery over here.
Sounds like a great idea, bro.
So, Abdurraheem, today what we said we're going to ask, what we're going to be looking at today. Wa alaikum salam, Octavia, and 5 stars, or how many other stars are there? Wa alaikum salam to you. Today what we're going to be looking at, Abdurraheem, I think it's a prelude, should we say. Is Ramadan a piece of cake?
Subhanallah. Well, I would say yes and no. Just to sit on the fence. And you know, like, it's really weird for me. When I first became Muslim, I used to fast a lot. I remember as a young man with lots of energy, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, he said, you know, young men fast. If you marry if you are able, but if you can't, dedicate yourself to fasting. And I dedicated myself to fasting. You know, I was so skinny from fasting. People would say, like, literally stop me and say, do you need some food or something? You know. And so when Ramadan came, and then it was Abdul Haqq, bro, it was back in the days when, so 4 years ago or something, 36 years ago, Ramadan was literally at the time when it was on the longest time of the year. So like, like it was 3 years ago. Yeah.
Right.
Because it rotates, isn't it? Every 35 years, 34 years or something. So it was extremely long. And bro, I didn't feel anything. I didn't feel anything.
Mashallah.
I wasn't hungry. I wasn't thirsty. And I was really worried. I thought, I was asking some of my friends. I said, bro, am I doing something wrong? Because, you know, I don't feel anything. And he was just laughing. You know, he was just laughing. And I was like really concerned. But now I would say that, no, I really, you know, Ramadan's a struggle for me. From the point of view of, I'll be honest, and people may find this shocking, I do not enjoy fasting. I don't enjoy that aspect of Ramadan. I find it really challenging. I can't wait for the fast to end, and I can't wait for Ramadan to end. And my least favorite nasheed is, you know, Ramadan, I wish, you know, you every day was Ramadan. I said, what the hell are you going on about, right? What a load of nonsense, yeah? Like, Eid Mubarak, because Ramadan is finished and I don't have to fast, you know, but... So, like, and I say that with no shame. Like, you know, you don't always have to enjoy the ibadah. Sometimes it's a test. Sometimes it's a trial, you know. Sometimes it's difficult. And, you know, from what I remember studying in the early days, you know, fasting was something the Sahaba found really, really difficult as well. They found fasting a real challenge. The things I do love about Ramadan and that makes it easy is the family, is the community, is breaking iftar together, you know, that it's that moment when you break the fast and that moment of relief, you know, that there's some great aspects to it as well. It's not all bad, you know, so but you know, I admit I find it challenging. And by the end of Ramadan, I'm feeling really, really shattered and really, really tired and physically, mentally drained, to be honest. Yeah.
That's I think though that's beautiful that you've explained that, Abdurraheem, because many feel, as you said, there are aspects of worship that some of us find difficult, okay? And hearing you speak as a seasoned Muslim, mashallah, tabarakallah, hearing that transparency and honesty, I think this is a message for those of us who do have some difficulties. And before I go into some of my experiences, I want to say salam to our brothers and sisters who are coming from UAE, from Sweden, from France, from Morocco. Welcome to all of you. Now, with me, Abdurraheem, I would say it's the opposite. Okay, I absolutely love fasting because I know that narration where we're told it's for Allah. Only Allah knows that you are fasting for Him in that instance. But also, I'll tell you something funny. When I first came to the Deen in the early days, and I started practicing the Monday and Thursday fast and everything. And I remember one day, I worked in the legal profession. So I came down. I left Holborn, came down to Brixton to the mosque there. We had the canteen there, and I came in. And Maghrib had gone, and I was still fasting, and I was speaking to Murtaza in the kitchen, and I was really proud of myself. And he's saying, "So what's happening?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fasting," and everything like that. And he goes, "So if you cut," he said, "No, I'm still fasting." And it's going up to Isha or past Isha. And I was really proud of myself. And he looked mortified. He said, "No, you've got to eat now." And I was thinking, what have I done wrong? He said, "You've got to stop the fast at Maghrib." I was going to go on as long as I possibly could. Like, this is great. I'm fasting.
Oh my God, bro.
So literally, that was my first experience. Like, I'm going to fast for as long as I can, non-stop. And it's like, no, this is haram. You can't do this. This is forbidden. So for me, like I'd say for me, I think because of that first aspect that I mentioned to you, and Jordan saying fasting is a nightmare. And yes, Jordan, there are those who do find it difficult. We did have the long fast when in the early days. I remember when first time. Look, for us as well, when I understood what fasting was, and while enjoying it, for those of us who led the type of lifestyles that we led, it was challenging because we realized it wasn't just about the food and drink. It was about the sexual desires. It was about all of those particular aspects there, which we found difficult. Now, Abdurraheem, you and I were Catholics, okay? And we remember the fast of Lent, okay? And the fast of Lent, for those who don't know, around the Easter period, the fast of Lent, you would give up certain things. So some of us would say, right, I'm going to give up smoking. I'm going to give up such and such. We'd maybe drink water and have a light snack and eat once a day and everything. And we've got to be careful, I think, as Muslims, that while we know we have to abstain from food and drink and everything like that, we mustn't do that Lent type of fast where there are still things that are happening that shouldn't be happening. And I'm talking from a spiritual perspective. I'm talking about a behavioral perspective in that instance. And a few are coming up, which is brilliant, saying that, and I don't mean it brilliant in a negative way, there you've infused them to say how difficult they find the fasting. So no, it's not a piece of cake, as you said, for everyone. But let's see how we can give each other some advice and participants advice on to how we can focus to really struggle in that instance. And the first thing I would say to everyone is that struggle that Abdurraheem says he finds, that dislike that he finds, that those of you who are feeling the same thing, imagine those who don't have a choice and go through that hunger every single day. Put that in the forefront of your mind when you're going through the struggle that you're going through in Ramadan, knowing that you're doing this to please Allah, knowing that you've got food at the end of the day to eat, delicacies that you really enjoy, and knowing that once Ramadan has passed, you're going to be able to eat to your heart's content, drink to your heart's content. But these individuals who are living like that, Muslim as well as non-Muslim, will have to continue. They will have to continue with that suffering, with that hunger, with that lack of knowing where their next meal is going to come from. They're going to have to continue with that. So if this is anything that will help you focus on your struggle, on our struggle, then let that be one of the reminders, inshallah.
Absolutely, bro. That's a really nice point. And these are just some of the, I wouldn't call them mental tricks, but, they are in the sense that they're techniques, I suppose, that, Allah and the Prophet has taught us. Because it is about training your mind. And I think what we have to remember, that's what Ramadan is really all about. It is about self-mastery. It's about training yourself, overcoming your nafs, right? Overcoming your desires, getting grip of that monkey mind, yeah, and engaging the prefrontal cortex, your ability to, think about things. And if you're just always running after your desires and following every passion that takes your fancy, you're not going to get anywhere in life. I mean, certainly not from a religious perspective, and you're not going to get anywhere in the akhirah either, right? Because that's it. Life is a test. And I mean, the reason I say this, about my experience and why I found Ramadan difficult is because sometimes we listen to these nasheeds, or we listen to some sheikh, who's talking about, they put these really strict things down. That's not even from the religion. Yeah. You can't sleep, you should be working hard, like just everybody, like normal. And it's like, just take it easy on yourself, right? Like, it can be tough. Not everyone gets this sort of, like sort of ecstatic, sort of, I don't know, ascetic vibe, from fasting.
No, that's right.
And I'm just saying, it's okay. You know what? That's fine. Don't worry about it. Not everyone's going to be some yogi. Yeah, I shouldn't use that expression, but you know what I'm getting, right?
I do, yeah.
But not everyone is like a spiritual athlete like that. But look, on the other hand, kutiba alaykum as-siyamu, fasting has been prescribed for you, right?
Yeah.
So it is something that Allah has ordered, right? And that's part, this is such an important part of the deen, bro. That's why I pinged you in on this. You probably got a text message from me. Join this conversation on Clubhouse about polygyny.
Yeah, I did. I couldn't make it. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Because I thought, oh my God, I want to hear what Abdul Haqq has. That everyone should hear what he has to say. Because for sisters, it's like, listen, even for brothers, not everything in Islam, not everything that you like is good for you, and not everything you hate. Not everything you like is good for you. Yeah,
it's good for
and
you.
not everything you hate is bad for you. Sometimes you
Right.
may hate something, but it's good for you, right?
Right.
Allah acknowledges that in the Quran.
Yes.
Right. So it is about training ourselves, bro. And that's
no,
the thing. Just
alhamdulillah.
reminding yourself of that.
And also that same verse.
Just to say, bro, on my walk today, there's this super, super steep hill. I'm going down it now, but on the way, it's so steep. And my daughter was saying, this hill never gets any easier. It's like this, yeah. It's like almost vertical, right? But you know what, mashallah, when you do reach the top, you get this feeling of real satisfaction, and it's good for your body, man. It's good to get the blood pumping,
No, mashallah.
So yeah.
And you're in a beautiful environment as well, mashallah, tabarakallah. And I think that one of our participants said that she doesn't eat regularly because of her work, so it's not consistent in that particular instance there. And there are those challenges. Rebecca Lucas doesn't eat consistently because of my work schedule. That is a challenge as well. So when it comes to the time when you can actually eat, and if you're fasting, then that's an added challenge. So, and I think this is really, really good. And I'm really pleased, Abdurraheem, that you've opened it up in this way about the challenges there, because so many people now, when, as you said, you're hearing nasheeds, we're hearing lectures from scholars, and we're seeing all those messages going out like Ramadan, and we're looking forward to Ramadan. And there are some who are not looking forward to Ramadan. There are some who we know we have to pray, and it's a challenge getting up for Fajr and in the morning and things like this. And this is part of the struggle. Some of us have given up things that we love. Some were surprised when I say I love music. I said, but it's haram. I said, okay, that's the position we take, but it doesn't mean I must now hate it. It's something that was part of my life for a long time ago. Some of us women love men. Some of us men love women. But we know
some men love men, bro.
Okay, yes, admittedly.
No, they do,
some women
bro,
love women. No, you're right.
Bro. It's a test, isn't it, bro?
That's right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So these things now are given up, okay? And we're not talking about the impermissible. Well, all of them are impermissible if they're out of the realms that we've been the guidelines of the deen. But the important thing is that we're giving these things up for Allah, for the deen. Like you said, that verse of the Quran that it's been prescribed for us, and the end part of that is tattaqun, so that we can become pious. Exactly. And what
Yeah.
I want to say, mashallah, Jordan is sharing. He's very active. So the lack of food, he has it on his mind all day. And if I hope Jordan doesn't mind me sharing that, I know that he's an athlete and that he's a tennis coach, like my ex-brother-in-law. So they're actively training and have to be at a level of fitness every day, like the footballers, for example. We see the challenge that the sports people have, the athletes have in Ramadan, and we have all the
Yeah.
naysayers saying, well, this isn't permissible, that isn't permissible, but that's their trade, that's their profession. So we know that they're at the peak of their fitness, and that nutrition is an essential element of that. It's an element, an important component of their routine in that instance. So Jordan, yes, I can imagine what you're going through. Rebecca, I can imagine what you must be going through. And myself, when we used to play football in Ramadan, Abdurraheem, that was
Yeah.
difficult, but we conditioned ourselves to it. But I want to move to a point now, again, where we're talking about the hardship, which I think is very important. But I want us to remember these things as well. A khutbah that I gave 21 years ago. Here I mentioned the verse in Surah Al-Baqarah, and give glad tidings to those who believe and do righteous good deeds, that for them there will be gardens under which rivers flow. Allah tells us again, Surah Tawbah, Allah has promised to the believers, men and women, gardens under which rivers flow therein, and beautiful mansions in gardens of Eden. But the greatest bliss is the good pleasure of Allah. That is the supreme success. So we've got to remember, we are doing this for Jannah. And not only for Jannah,
Absolutely.
let's go to a greater thing than this, Abdurrahim. And the khutbah I gave a little while ago. It's because we want to meet Allah. I want to meet my Lord who I'm doing this for. I want to be with him who I'm doing this for. And I've mentioned this previously before, because we wouldn't do this for anyone else. You won't do this for the woman you love unless you were committing shirk in that regard. So this is a great act of devotion, of worship, and the reward
Absolutely, bro.
is incomprehensible to us.
Absolutely. And, you know, it reminds me of what the Prophet said. You know, there are two times of delight during fasting, you know, of the breaking of the fast, you know. So the first time of delight is when you actually break the fast. But the second time of delight is when you meet Allah, you know. And the second one is definitely going to be more delightful than the first, you know. So,
Yes.
of course, there's so many things that we need to remember to encourage us and motivate us, and you know, and yes, some people, mashallah, right? And this has definitely happened to me with some things, right? You know, that like dawah, for example, right? I get a real buzz out of dawah. I really love it. Some people are going to find it hard and challenging, you know. And so I think that it does happen, you know, when you begin to understand the virtues of something, and when you really begin to appreciate the benefits and the virtues, then your heart begins to love it despite the struggle and the agony. And so, you know, obviously we do want to strive for that. We do want to strive to make, I mean, from that perspective, of course, I love fasting. Anything that is going to bring me closer to Allah, you have to love it. But I'm being just honest about, from a sort of physical, mental perspective, I do find it a struggle. But obviously, like I said, you know, from that perspective, you love it for the sake of Allah, right? And that's the thing, right? If I, you know, look, Abdul Haqq, bro, if I love you because, you know, we're both South London boys, yeah, we're both ex-Catholics, yeah, we listen to the same music, you know, that's just normal. Or we used to listen to, well, you understand what I'm saying? Like, these are the normal things that people like each other for, right?
Right.
But you know, when you love someone for the sake of Allah, when you love someone for only one reason, that because we follow the same deen, we follow the same minhaj, yeah, then, you know, and you know what? In normal life, we might not have really got on with each other at all, you know, but because of
Yes.
Islam, we love each other, right? And that's what it really means to love each other for the sake of Allah, right? So that's it. You can, you know, you can find Ramadan, you can find fasting a struggle, but you can still love it for the sake of Allah, right?
Yes.
You can love it because, you know, this is my deen and I love my deen. And yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's a struggle. Yeah, it's difficult. But you know what? The reward is great. And raditu billahi rabban wa bil islam dinan wa bi Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam nabiyan, you know.
And no, absolutely, Abdurraheem. No,
Allah is my
mashallah.
Rabb, my Lord, you know, and Islam is my religion, you know.
And also, Abdurraheem, this is the thing. For those of you who are in the West, obviously I spent a lot of the time fasting in the West and everything like that, mashallah, tabarakallah. And the struggle there is more because the hours are short, the days are longer. When I was there in 2015, and that's the last time I actually spent, I was visiting, but the blessings of being in a Muslim society and the way it's accommodated, and your times change, your work hours are shorter. The whole society is geared towards that.
The whole atmosphere,
It's absolutely yes, absolutely amazing. But when I see the efforts and the striving that's done in the UK and the Western countries and countries like Norway, as our brothers just highlighted, and those very, very long days and very, very short nights and everything, the reward is immense. And we have to, as Muslims, we can't expect to live in comfort in every aspect of our lives, even if as wealthy as we may be, as affluent as we may be. There is a struggle. We know that jihad is a struggle, and we're not talking about the pinnacle of jihad with the physical fighting. We're talking about that daily jihad, that jihad and nafs, that jihad that we go through in work and with family and with friends and challenges that we have there. So we can't say we've come to the deen. Remember Surah Al-Ankabut, Allah says, Alif Lam Mim. Do men think that upon saying we believe, they will not be tested? We tested those before to distinguish between the truthful and the false and the liars. So Allah has told us that clearly, that we will be tested being upon this faith, being upon this deen. We should not be thinking that everything's going to be easy, including the pillars of Islam. When we go on Hajj, Abdurraheem, Hajj is easier now than it ever was before of our forefathers. Okay, but it's still a struggle. 5-star hotels, the time we still have to wait, the queuing, it's still a struggle.
Yeah, that's for sure, bro. It definitely is still a struggle, and I mean that's partly because we're just weaker, you know. I mean, I look at Dad and I think, oh my God, Allah made them differently back in those days. The things that he was able to do and accomplish, you know. And yeah, for sure, you know. But our tests are different, bro. Like you said, our tests are different. So for those of us living in the West, we have some advantages. Yeah, maybe in many ways our life is more comfortable, but in many other ways it's more challenging, you know. And one of those things is Ramadan is just a bit more challenging. You don't, like we said, you don't have that atmosphere, you don't have that vibe. You know, it really is amazing in a Muslim country. You know, the feeling, the vibe that you get with everyone fasting together, you know, mashallah. The whole thing is just amazing. You know, I mean, everyone could experience it and try to experience it, I reckon. You know,
definitely.
Country, you know,
I think that
it's amazing. Yeah.
Right, and Abdurraheem, you're cracking up a little bit and the sound is going faster. So I'm not sure what's happening with the signal. We can still understand and hear you. What's happening?
Yeah. Hopefully I'll pick up good reception in a few minutes, inshallah. Just a few minutes, I'll pick up reception, inshallah.
Okay, inshallah.
Keep going, bro. You keep going.
No, I will do. Sister Amala said that you've aroused the eagerness to go for long walks. And there you go again, in the UK and where you're living in Europe, and you've got beautiful countrysides. The climate is correct. You can go for beautiful walks in this and appreciate the beauty that you've got around you while you're waiting to close your fast and everything, inshallah. Now, Abdurraheem, you're gonna have to mute while I'm speaking because of that crackling. And then when you speak, put back on your mic, inshallah. Yeah, there you go. So as you can see, Abdurraheem, he's set a sunnah for all of you that when you are waiting for your fast, now it's British summertime, and wherever else you might be, Sweden's a beautiful country, Norway, France, and the countrysides there in those regions. Go out, distract yourself, but distract yourselves with the beauty that's around you of Allah's creation. Do that. Don't be sitting waiting for the seconds to tick by, because that's going to cause more stress, more anxiety, and the fast gets a little bit more difficult if you're looking at it in that way. Occupy yourselves. One of the things that we know with fasting as well, the mental alertness and the stimuli that is caused by fasting. Okay, that's one of the benefits that I find with fasting, that you're just totally focused on what you're actually doing and the various tasks that you're actually doing. When you realize how much we think about food during the day, and then when we stop to eat, how much of a distraction that is throughout all our days. And then also, those of you don't know, you must know, postprandial dip. All of us get postprandial dip. You've eaten, and then suddenly it's like, I need to sleep now. This is a physiological, biological response. So our whole day, some of you we doze off, and then we wake up and we're like, oh my gosh, I've got these things to do. But I've completely, so what we've got to realize is that excuse isn't there. And even after we've closed our fast, Abdurraheem, I see you at home, alhamdulillah. Even after we closed our fast, we might feel, okay, I've had my fast, but then it's now, I've got to finish these pages of Quran. I've got to do this adhkar, or I've got to get this meal prepared with my wife and whatever. And then we've got to be ready and relaxed to go and stand for Isha and to do Tarawih. So even after eating and getting that postprandial dip, we realize my activities are actually increasing now. They're not decreasing from the fast.
Yeah, it's true. It's, you know what, the thing that I also really struggle with is the tarawih, you know, after breaking fast, because like my natural inclination is when you've eaten, it's just like, I just want to lie down and sleep now, you know, but no, you have to get up and you have to, you know, you don't have to, but you should really, you know, go to the masjid. And it has lots of challenges, really. Ramadan has lots of challenges. And amongst the challenges is just maintaining your good mood, you know, like it's not an excuse just because you're fasting to be a cow, you know, and to be really nasty to people, you know.
And that's easy to do, Abdurraheem. Let's be frank. When we've not eaten, okay, and you get grumpy, gruff, and that happens to anyone when they're not eating. And so that's a challenge in itself, like not to bite somebody's head off when they ask you an obvious question, you know, or when you're thinking that I'm waiting for something or I'm expecting something from someone and they don't fulfill your expectations, and you're just like a grizzly bear while you're fasting. And so the behavioral aspects are very, very important as well. And let's be frank, we all fall short in those instances. Some of us will have a really brilliant 10 days, 15 days, and then suddenly we just lose it. You know, we can't handle it that much. And Octavia's saying here, the long prayers. And yes, if we can be in a mosque where there's some really good recitation that's actually taking place, but also what we don't want to happen, we want it in between. Abdurraheem, you and I have gone, remember when we used to go around to some of the masajid, I think sure you're with me, we go to particular masjids and we heard the fastest recitation in our lives. And before we knew it, it was, and so then we said, we didn't feel the prayer at all. Then you go somewhere else and the imam has decided, I'm going to recite with ta'til, and you're like, come on, this is too long. And you don't want to feel that in your heart.
Do you remember Jamal, bro? Do you remember my friend Jamal from the Emirates?
Yes, of course I do.
He's very well known, mashallah, in UAE now, mashallah.
I should try and give me his number.
He's really
I'll try and
well
catch up with
known as a you know, as a poet and an Arabist, and he's become really famous, mashallah.
Mashallah.
And but subhanallah, he would, oh my gosh, our legs were aching, and he was like, mashallah, this long. And you know, that's it. You know, when you actually, you are the reciter, you get into this zone, you literally don't feel it. You can recite and recite and recite. Like even I do that with my kids sometimes. You know, it's like, you know, it's not, when you're reciting, mashallah, it's not a real issue for you, but for the people behind, it can be like really like, this is painful. Right. And the brothers were like really suffering. You can see it.
But his recitation was amazing. His recitation was beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful recitation, mashallah.
Those are the good old days, bro. Yeah.
They were, Abdurraheem, you know, and alhamdulillah, we can sit and reflect and share that with brothers and sisters who may not have embraced Deen at that time, or if they were Muslims, we're meeting them now because of social media and everything. And again, as I was saying recently, this is why I love Newcastle Fast. The things we discuss and the transparency with which we discuss them. You starting off with, I suppose everyone's thinking, okay, they're going to talk, is Ramadan a piece of cake? Was going, yeah, it's a piece of cake and everything. But no, we're saying, hold on a minute. No, there are some real struggles that we endure
The
in
struggle
Ramadan.
is real.
Yes, that's right.
The
The
struggle is real.
It's definitely real. And I think that, I hope that makes others realize that they're not alone in that.
Definitely. I'm with you,
One of-
brothers and sisters. If you struggle with fasting, I'm with you. We are suffering together, inshallah. Alhamdulillah.
and mashallah, I think that one of the things, Abdurraheem, that we need to look at is there are those coming. There's a sister saying she's fasting for the first time, and may Allah give you ease in that. But may you taste the enjoyment and the pleasure of what Ramadan really stands for. And I think that we need to focus as well this Ramadan. This is like no other Ramadan that we've had before. And why do I say that? Abdurraheem, usually from one Ramadan to the next, we hear of people who have lost loved ones, and we all hope to get to the next Ramadan in the sense for the blessings. This last year, death was and still is closer to every single one of us than it's ever been before because of this pandemic. It is so much closer in that sense that there has been trepidation, there has been anticipation, there has been that concern, because you just don't know if it was going to afflict you, a family member, or the like. We know that there's some families where 9 members of the family died. So we go into Ramadan having experienced something that the world hasn't seen for more than 100 years. With the last, so we're in a time now where when we go into Ramadan, we should really reflect upon that. And we should really reflect, because when we get into the last 10 nights and Laylatul Qadr comes and we know that's the night of decree, we need to be asking Allah for preservation of our lives, okay, and of our loved ones and those close to us, and to give ease to those who have suffered in that particular instance on those occasions. We really need to be looking and being grateful to Allah for those around us that we have, those who annoy us, those who don't, those who anger us, those who don't, those who we should be getting in touch with and we haven't done, and being grateful that they're still here with us in the month of Ramadan, whether they're Muslim or non-Muslim, Abdurraheem. So it should be real time for reflection, not just on ourselves that, okay, I'm feeling hungry, I'm feeling tired, I'm feeling whatever. We need to look at and say, what is this month about? What is this month for? Is it just about me? And then again, as I said, this month of abstinence from food is a normality for large sections of the world. Large sections.
So true, bro. So true, man. It's so true. And subhanAllah, you know, in many ways, we're so lucky. And you know, that's another thing of the blessing. I think, you know, one of the great blessings of Ramadan is it inspires so many people to be generous and to give charity, because, you know, we're all feeling it. So when someone comes on TV and says, help us build a water well, and we're sitting there and we're feeling the thirst, and we're thinking, yeah, I'm beginning to really understand what it must be like, you know, to be feeling this thirsty every day. You know, when we're looking at our brothers and sisters across the world who are suffering in so many different ways, they don't even have food to eat. You know, subhanallah, you know, we feel it. And, you know, there's something I this may sound, you know, like, it's interesting that one of the things that I never really felt in Ramadan was, you know, like one of the things we have to abstain from, obviously, is not just food and drink, but it's sexual intercourse, right? But I've never, you know, like, it's weird because normally, like, fasting reduces that, right? That sort of energy. But I remember, I don't know what happened to me one Ramadan, right? It was like I really suffered. Like, I'd never experienced that particular, you know, in Ramadan. I'd never had that sort of.
But
like,
see, you say that,
yeah,
but I know many of us do.
Yeah,
It's like the rest of the year is normal, and then suddenly it's like, what's happening? I'm fasting every day, and this urge is far stronger in Ramadan.
Like, I'd never experienced that before, you know. But one brother was saying, yes, you know, the struggle is real, you know. And like, I had never had that like really bad experience like that, and it was like, oh my god, this is insane, you know. But you know, alhamdulillah, I only really suffered from that one, that particular hunger, you know.
No,
in one Ramadan,
for many, Abdurraheem, for many, it's every Ramadan.
subhanallah, you know.
And remember, Abdurraheem, remember,
Yeah.
it's not just for men as well; it's for women.
Yeah, of course, bro. I didn't say anything there. Did I say just for men?
No, you didn't. You didn't. I'm just saying, just to give a clarification there, mashallah. So there is that, as you said, there is that. Also, what we need to be careful of, I think, this Ramadan, and maybe many have spoken about it before, but we've really got to observe what we are consuming on social media and what we are witnessing and what we are responding or remaining silent to, because backbiting and slander is prolific on social media. It's prolific, and you and I have spoken about this before. And so, like for me, usually in Ramadan, I usually just come off Facebook. I might still post things without checking anything, but I come off social media, maybe WhatsApp with my family and things. But I'm not saying anyone should do that, because some work on that. You're giving dawah and everything like that. But what we have to be really careful of is what we are consuming. Okay, from social media, even television, even the wider media that we're looking at. What are we consuming? What is different? If we're reading the Quran and we're listening to the Arabic, if we can't read, and we're listening and we're reading the English and everything, is that what's occupying and consuming our minds and our hearts and everything like that? Is that what's taking place? If it isn't, then we've got to ask ourselves, are we still ingesting spiritually, psychologically, what we're seeing from social media and other media outlets? And if that's the case, we need to shut that down so that we can let the Quran and its message and its beauty and the sakina really consume us in Ramadan.
Definitely, bro. Such a very important point, such a powerful point. Like I think, are we going to continue this in Ramadan, bro? Are we going to be keeping?
Do you know what? I don't think we were going to, but if you want to, because you're scheduled and I'm scheduled, let's ask the audience if they want a piece of cake to continue in Ramadan. They should start typing away now. Hassan's there monitoring.
I mean, I know that, you know, I know that I've probably got a load of live appeals lined up and stuff like that. But look, if we've got time, I think we should do it, and I think we should actually talk about this subject. Yeah, backbiting, slander, tail carrying, social media, right, and especially, you know, what does it really mean to fast? Because it's not just keeping away from food and drink and sexual intercourse.
Malahat, Aisha,
it would be a really
saying yes.
subject.
Shireen, Sister Shireen. So, okay, Hassan, I want you to take the notes. Sister Badaria, Zainab, they're saying they want us to continue. Sister Octavia saying continue. Everyone. So, Hassan, I hope you're getting this.
The show will just fall just before, like, you know, an hour before fasting. So it's a nice halal distraction. You know, it's not even a distraction.
That's true.
Yeah.
But you know what? We could go up to, we're at different timings. Ibtisam, Jazakallah Khair, and Bosnian Muslim. I think that we can do that. We could be speaking, depending on the timing, up until you are all closing your fast. I think it'd be later for me, which would be okay, inshallah. And we could really be encouraging each other in this instance. And even talking about the hardship. Thank you, Abdul Malik. Bart, yes. Can I kiss my wife in Ramadan? I can't, but you can. Yes, you can, of course you can, as long as it's not going to basically overpower you and consume you with the level of intimacy that we're not allowed to have at that time. And we know that from the hadith and everything that's there. So yes, brother B, sister B, yes, if it's convenient for us, if it's convenient for you all, we'll look to do it. We're going to be active in Ramadan anyway, but this particular show with my beloved brother Abdurraheem and myself, we were thinking of pausing. You might have been tired of us for the month of Ramadan, but if you want us to continue, then we'll arrange that with brother Hassan and those at Newcastle Fast to continue, so we can continue. And I'll say one thing though, one of the things we've got to do though, and I think everyone needs to, I want everyone to agree with this, Abdurraheem as well. Once we've closed our fast and we're doing, you and me doing this lecture, we have to have each week, okay, a different piece of cake and a cup of tea.
As long as I don't have to bake it, bro.
No, what? So no,
You're
I'm
the
saying
baker.
that
You're
exactly,
the baker, bro.
exactly. So what I'd say,
How is your baking? How is your baking, bro?
really, you know what's funny? For me,
Yeah.
it's non-existent. But all my children, my sons, my sister, there's 4 generations of bakers here.
Those
I've just got
bakers
it by
who
name.
who really are bakers, yeah.
I'm a baker by name. That's it. My children, they learned to bake. So well, we might as well live up to our family name. So mashallah. But I'm saying now, Abdurraheem, if you agree with that, I think all of the audience and those of you who are watching, you've already said yes, you want us to continue, and I'm going to place a condition on you. All of you, when you tune into a piece of cake, have got to tell us you've got a piece of cake, what type of cake it is that you're eating, and a cup of tea or whatever it is that you like to drink. So those of you who are watching, you need to tell us now that you're going to be with us with a piece of cake, different piece, every week when Abdurraheem and I are on the show. We'll wait for you to type it all up. And Hassan, can you let us know if we can continue throughout Ramadan, please, inshallah? So we're really going to have this synergy with with each other, and we're going to see about making this show a tangible one with regards to the edible aspect of it as well, inshallah.
You could get really crazy, and everyone has to have a different type of tea every week as well. It's only 4 weeks, so you can have Earl Grey, you can have British breakfast tea, you can have Lapsang Souchong, and you can have Assam tea, and those might have run out of my teas, but there's plenty more, inshallah.
Right, no, mashallah. Hassan's saying to me now, we can do it, but it would have to be 3 to 4 p.m. UK time. I'm fine with that. So you have to have a think about that, Abdurraheem, and the audience have to say if they're okay with that. And then everyone, are we all going to see? You and me have agreed, but I'm not seeing anyone else come up with agreeing.
We definitely can't. We can't be having a piece of cake from 3 to 4 p.m. because that will be
okay. Then everyone will say, everyone's going to say what piece of cake they've bought or is prepared for when they close their fast. I will have my piece of cake because I will be eating anyway, and I will show everyone.
And even better, share the cake with someone like a neighbor or family, and you get the barakah of helping someone break their fast, inshallah.
And Sister B says she's giving up fatty stuff for Ramadan. Okay, Sister B, what you should do is you should tell us what cake you're getting that you're going to give to a family member or a neighbor, but you've got to have some cake there to give. And Malahat is mad about cake, so that's good, Malahat. Each week, what cake you're going to have, Sister Amal, this is the deal. Inshallah.
Alhamdulillah, bro. Alhamdulillah.
Earl Grey tea, favourite of mine as well. There's a Kenya tea as well. Do any of you know about Kenya tea?
Kenya tea.
That's a strong tea, very nice.
It's very good tea, man. Kenya tea, mashallah.
So who's that saying great? That has a reason to delay their diet? Okay, not exactly. only have the cake the week that you're seeing us, not every day, just once.
Alhamdulillah.
Thank you, Mo, supporting the idea. I think that if we go with, I'm looking at what Rebecca's saying. She makes cakes on the side. Oh, strawberry topped cake. This is getting really tempting now for me. I'm gonna have to come back to the UK. I think we're gonna have to have somewhere where we can meet one day.
I'm gonna have a confession now, bro.
Go on.
You're gonna get shocked. I don't like cake.
And we've been doing a piece of cake for how long?
No, it's crazy. When I say I don't like cake, I'm not really a big fan of there are certain cakes I like, but they're ones that are not really cake-like. So what I don't like is the sort of spongy, fluffy. I just feel like I'm eating air,
Yeah.
But if the cake is like really super dense, like really, really dense, like really thick cake, then I don't mind that. The only exception,
I only eat my children's cake
is cream. If the cake has lots of cream on it, that's it, man. No problemo. Like it just changes it.
For me,
fresh cream, not like that fake,
No, the real cream. Tiramisu, that's right. And Aisha says she likes cake she's in. But now, Abdurraheem, my favorite cakes are Idris carrot cake. Now we're getting there.
Thanks, babe.
My children, they make the best cakes. and they put the real ingredients in. Now, because you're in the UK, what I'll do one day, if I can ask my daughter Hanifa or Nasreen or one of them to make a cake for you, you will go crazy when you taste, because they put the real ingredients in. Okay, so if it's chocolate and orange cake, you will taste the real chocolate and the orange that's in there and everything. So for me, with a cup of coffee, Malahat, yes, it's got to be a good cup of coffee, Malahat. Banana cake, Bosnian Muslim. This is amazing. Yeah, banana cake is great. Lemon cake, but as long as it's not too lemon cake, as long as it's not too lemony. As long as it's not too lemony, I like lemon cake as well.
Lemon loaf,
date milk bread. Look, see, this is why we're called a piece of cake. Look at this now. Everyone's giving their culinary delights that they prefer, and as I think the teas are important and the coffees as well.
But the classic, bro, Black Forest Gâteau.
Ooh,
bro, that's got to be it, man. That's the cake. That is the cake.
That's right.
Or opera cake. Yeah, my wife's reminding me opera cake. Oh my god, have you had opera cake?
Yeah. Oh yeah, opera. Yes. And you know what?
And that's really hard to make. Mashallah.
Yeah, bad sister Badri, a nice banana cake and a nice date cake that's heavy, but also what else is there? There's the Black Forest Gâteau, I think is that's the one. And Shireen, it depends what chocolate cake. I like chocolate and orange that my children do. They do a nice chocolate orange cake in that. And so for me, when you're eating a good cake, Abdurraheem, and you've got a nice good cup of tea. What's that?
This has become a full-on cake connoisseur.
Well, it's a piece of cake. Come on. It's a piece of cake. So this is the first time we've discussed this. So carrot cake, a good carrot cake though. And if the cake is fresh, Abdurraheem, you know, if it's got that fresh taste to it, the warmth to it as well. As you said, it's got that depth and that texture. Then that's when it's very, very delicious.
Maybe maybe what we should do, bro, is a live cake cooking thing on the piece of cake. And there's this cake that I have that I used to eat when I used to do a paleo diet, and it has no flour in it. It's a carrot cake. It has no flour. It's made with carrots and ground almonds. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh, bro. Now that's a piece of cake. That's a piece of
Bilal is saying carrot is his favorite cake too. But then who was that who just said blueberry cake? Oh my gosh.
I'm not sure.
Blueberry cheesecake. And you know what, Abdurraheem? If you taste a really fresh cheesecake that's light, and you've got the right sauce going on top of that.
Yeah. I love
exquisite.
Cheesecake I love.
Exquisite.
Now that's the sort of cake I love. Because that's not fluffy, spongy, right? Cheesecake is solid, and you have a nice biscuit base. So you can give me, I can eat cheesecake anytime. But, you know, that sort of fluffy, spongy fluff. And then especially when they put, you know, like a sort of sugary, creamy nastiness in it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That
and
cheap
cover
stuff,
it in it. And it's
that's
like,
right.
I might as well be eating artificial additives.
Oh, see, Bart's just mentioned here, apple tart, Apple tart warm with a soft pastry, with a whip of cream on top of it, or vanilla ice cream melting onto the apple.
What are you talking about?
Onto the pastry,
bro?
Not soft pastry. I mean thick. Should I say thick pastry?
Crunchy. The pastry.
Crunchy, but
doesn't it have to be really? Pastry has to be sort of
crumbly.
You don't want it to, crumbly, exactly. You don't want it to be, I know what you mean by soft. As long as it's not squidgy and stodgy.
No, not squidgy. Hassan's just said rhubarb, crumble, and custard.
Oh, yes.
Old school. Come on.
That is old school. Rhubarb crumble. I got a bit excited there with the old rhubarb crumble.
So look at this now. Look, viewers, participants. Ibtisam, I've got no idea
what's happening.
This is what's happening. We are thinking about Ramadan and these cakes and everything and these delicacies that we like. Yes, Sister Aman, blueberry cheesecake, best cheesecake ever. I agree with you. Raspberry cheesecake, though, we've got to think about that with the sauce on top. But what we need to look at is, so now those of you who are saying that you struggle in Ramadan, think about what you're going to be doing when you close your fast. Think about that moment. And there's as I said, there's the culinary aspect, but remember the spiritual aspect, that the struggle that you've gone through, that dua that you say upon closing your fast is there for you. Okay, so we know that the fast has gone, the hunger's gone, the fast has gone, and the reward is certain, inshallah. And the fact we can talk lightly as we are talking now in this instance here, I'm hoping that it's giving some of you some optimism, some hope, how to enter into Ramadan. The fact that we're going to now do the piece of cake in Ramadan, as per request from yourselves and Abdurraheem saying that we should do it, going through aspects of the struggle together. So sometimes we may be speaking, Abdurraheem may be having a particularly tough day on that day or tough week. I may have that in that instance with regards to the fast. We'll share that. And we want you to share it. And we want, in sharing what we're going through together, the good, the bad, and the ugly of it, hopefully that burden shared will be that burden alleviated. The pleasure shared will be that pleasure cascading and empowering to others among us as well, inshallah. So I'm hoping that can be what we share throughout Ramadan, as well as I said, and there's a condition there, even though you will be fasting, I'm going to be expecting to know what cake you've got. And if you do not come with a cake that you're going to either eat or share, don't speak to me.
That's brutal, bro.
No, I'm only playing. I'm
That's
only
the old
playing. But
Shadid.
hopefully we'll see
Abdul Haqq
each
there.
week. And you know what, Abdurraheem? Hassan, what would be really good is if pictures could be sent in of the cakes that everyone's had. If there's, I don't know, a website, if there's somewhere where these cakes can be sent to show what pieces of cake they've been having, and they can be sending a message that has Ramadan been a piece of cake for them on that particular day.
Absolutely. We want to see your Ramadan cake pieces. That's what we want to see. We
So
can show them. I'm sure we can hold them up, innit? You know?
We possibly.
Yeah, print them out and hold them up, inshallah, or show them on
our there we go. We've got a Newcastle Fast FM at gmail.com, everyone. Your cake photos every week to send, and we're going to be discussing them. And if you've made them yourselves, brilliant. If you've shared them with someone, if a family member, a child or someone has made them, please let us see your cakes for a piece of cake during Ramadan.
And then maybe we can give a prize for the best cake that we think that looks the best. I mean, really, honestly, what we really should be doing is having a proper cake competition where we can actually taste them as well. Inshallah, when this lockdown is finished, bro, you and me will meet up in UK and we're going to have the Green and Baker, piece of cake competition. And we're going to get people that have to bring their cakes. And we'll do something like that, bro. Just to.
But yeah, but I've got to watch my sugar levels as well, though. So I'm going to eat in moderation.
All right, well, we can, we'll make sure there's some, sugar-free cakes there and stuff like that.
There we go. We've got a prize there. Newcastle Fast FM hoodie for the best cake.
There you go, mashallah.
We're going to involve all of you in it, because Abdurraheem and I will be judges in that instance. But you're all going to decide when you see the pictures, when you hear this description, and we're going to do it by popular choice. If you say this one looks the best, but be careful. I'll say this to my brothers and sisters: don't do this really nice picture of this cake design that you've got off the internet and put your face beside saying this is what I made, because we will be able to tell if you photoshopped, and we will have experts looking very, very carefully at that. And if you've gone down the road to go and buy a cake that is from an expert, then that doesn't count. We will disqualify you from that as well.
Yeah, you have to bake it yourself. Absolutely.
Or get it from someone you know who makes cake, or even if it is from the bakery, no problem from the bakery, but you can't go to one of these professional cake makers. That's not fair. Bosnia, yeah, that's another idea, actually. We can have some of you coming on, joining our stream, and showing us and telling us not only about your cake, but if Ramadan has been a piece of cake for you on that particular day or that particular week. See how organic we are, brothers and sisters. This is excellent. And yes, red velvet. Who was that who just put up red velvet? Oh gosh, yes.
I'm not a fan of red velvet.
With cream cheese.
Red velvet looks nice, but it doesn't taste anything special.
No, it does if it's thick, Abdurraheem. And with cream cheese in the middle, come on. Okay. And yes, Malahat, good idea. So, Hassan, what we are going to do as we are growing organically in this program for Ramadan, we're going to invite some of our participants on. They're going to have their cake with them. Okay, you've got a lemon cake, Bilal, that your mum's just baked for. Oh, lovely. As long as it's not too lemony. because that tastes too bitter for me, and it's not too sweet with the sugar that's sprinkled on top. I sound like an expert. I am a everyone. I'm a baker after all. Come on, so understand that. Yeah, diabetes we have to be very careful about. I agree with you on that. So let's not overdo it. But what I'd say, I think we're drawing to a conclusion with a brilliant idea. We were going to be saying salam to Ramadan and see you on the other side. But I think now, if we're going to go in to Ramadan, we're going to have some of you coming on as guests with your cake. And we're not only going to talk about that cake you're going to eat or you're going to share, but you're going to tell us if that particular week, that particular day has been a piece of cake for you in the month of Ramadan, inshallah.
Absolutely.
And kunafa is beautiful as well. Oh, yes, kunafa. I love kunafa as well. We sound like greedy pigs on this side. Don't get me wrong, we're not. And I've lost a lot of weight, so I'm okay. But I'm not going to put it on in Ramadan. We can't put on weight in Ramadan by eating cakes, brothers and sisters. I will feel very sad and guilty if that's what's happened. And you told me that you've put on 1 kilo or 2 or 3, and then we get blamed. And we might have to change the name after Ramadan from a piece of cake to diet extraordinaire.
To a piece of dried crisp bread.
Something like that. Yes. So look, Abdurraheem, it's been a beautiful show as usual. And seeing you out in the countryside was absolutely amazing. Having our brothers and sisters and guests really coming, a cake a day. Yep, you're right, Aisha. That would be disastrous for any one of us to eat a cake a day. So it's good that we're only on every week. So we will make sure that we're meeting every week about this. And yeah, a bake-off post-Ramadan on the show. Very good idea. Very good idea.
Yeah, me against Abdul Haqq. I know who's going to win that one, bro.
No, you. I'll have to get my kids involved. There's no way. And
okay,
yes,
Green family against the Baker family. Let's see who really can bake.
That would be. But you know what? I'd have to have my children who are in the UK and Jeddah helping out, because my 2 sons here. I suppose they could help, but I think I'd have to get the experts in from my family.
Yeah.
But yes, as Ibtisam has said as well, may this Ramadan be a piece of cake for all of us, inshallah. Looking forward to that. I'm looking forward. There's an extra show that's going to be there. Wayak Sister Ibtisam. There's an extra show that's going to be there with our brother Jordan and Abdurraheem. We're most really going to invite you onto that as well. And we're calling it the Convert Conundrum.
All right.
Convert Conundrums, where we're going to talk more about some of the things we've discussed now, go into detail for converts to be able to share their experiences, and also for established Muslims to learn about some of the challenges that we've got there as Muslims in Ramadan. And Bilal says he's got his picture. He sent his picture already. That is brilliant. Now, there's not time now, but next week, Bilal, that cake is going to be viewed in all its splendor. And if you can give a description next week to tell us what that was like and how much you enjoyed it. And please say to your good mama, remember that lovely meeting we had with your mum and everything when we went out for dinner, that when I come next, ask her, does she make carrot cake? And does she make, some won't know this cake, bulla cake? I said Jamaican, bulla cake. That's a Jamaican cake. So everyone who's been watching, there's the address. We are going to be going on throughout Ramadan. Thanks to you, Jazakallah khair, Abdurraheem, for making that suggestion, and Hassan and Newcastle Fast for facilitating that for us. And these coming days that are about to approach us, let's really start focusing. Let's really start focusing. I've seen the picture that's come from, Bilal, that is a lovely looking cake that's just been set. I've just seen it just come up on my screen, I think with some icing on the top of it, and it was sliced. And so Bilal's the first one who's come through with a piece of cake prior to Ramadan, and it was lemon cake. So next week we need to have another one. But Bilal, we'll maybe have you on next week with that picture describing how that cake tasted. We want some descriptions, and that will whet the appetite.
You're gonna add, bro, next Ramadan, everyone's going to be fasting, and we're going to be there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon describing the deliciousness, of how delicious. It's not going to be a piece of cake is going to be the baker and green torture show. Are you suffering this Ramadan? Well, you're not suffering enough. We're here to make
with the cake and the tea. We're trying not make it so torturous. I confess, but I think, mashallah, everyone seems to be want to participate. I think it's beautiful.
Oh,
there is the picture.
Oh my God, that looks
Look
delicious.
at that.
Oh my God, I can only see it in the background, but
so can I. Mashallah, tabarakallah. Bilal, jazakallah khair. Thank you, mum. Well done. Now, people, brothers, sisters, see how quickly, how organic this is. This is what we can be doing next week as well, inshallah. There is, and each week, you know what, Hassan, from now on, for the rest of the show next the next Ramadan, you don't have to have our background pictures up. We will have the cakes up. Yes, 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 Shireen. Yes, yes, yes. We will have the cakes in the background, and that is the cake from Bilal's mum, and it looks absolutely delicious. Mashallah, tabarakallah.
It's gonna be torturous, bro.
You know what? It's gonna be torturous, but when we get to closing that fast, we will say that dua with such relish, and we will enjoy it. Now, Abdurraheem, let me tell you about a moment. When I did Umrah a few years ago in Ramadan, we concluded. We did, and you know, we did it in the morning. Some say do it in the afternoon, do it near Maghrib. We did it Asr. And I remember we were doing, and this is one of the peak times it's really hot. And we were doing it, and when we got everyone finished, and do you know what? It's something I've never witnessed before in the Haram, and I've seen it a few times. We sat, the water spouts were shut off, obviously, because they don't want people drinking accidentally. And we all were able to find some water, get cups and a few dates, and the people putting the food out. And just before Maghrib, the entire Haram was silent. Silent, because everyone was so hungry and thirsty. And I was looking around like, why is it so quiet? And no one was moving. Everyone had stopped. Everyone was sitting. Obviously, those doing Sai were doing Sai. And then when the adhan went, that was the most beautiful adhan that I had ever heard. And we drank the Zamzam water and the dates like we hadn't eaten or drank ever before in our lives. It was such an exquisite moment. Exquisite. And may Allah give everyone that opportunity to do Umrah in Ramadan, inshallah, when this pandemic's lifted, inshallah.
Ramadan is probably one of the most amazing spiritual experiences you can have.
It is.
I rate it there with, I would even dare to say that for me, it was better than Hajj when I did it. From just, I guess because you're just there in the masjid, you're making etikaf, you know, subhanAllah, it's very, very powerful. Very beautiful. MashaAllah. Yeah.
Whether you're doing it in the day, Abdurraheem, or if you're doing it at night as Tarawih is going on, it's just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Right,
so
bro,
what I would say,
I've got to head on. I've got to pray Asr because I was going for my walk and it's getting close to Maghrib. So I've got to squeeze my Asr in, inshallah. And it's been beautiful, bro, as always.
As always, Jazakumullah khair to you and everyone. And we will see you on the other side in Ramadan.
Inshallah.
And this has been almost literally a piece of cake.
Piece of cake.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.